Like a Coachella organizer, you should always save the best for last, otherwise everyone will leave after Travis Scott, and no one will stay around for Insane Clown Posse. Usually the coolest and most powerful weaponry in games gets saved for later on, when the enemies are stronger and you need more stopping power. But occasionally, games will hand you a weapon right at the beginning that can go toe-to-toe with any other armament you happen to pick up later on. Here then are the starter weapons that were the best weapon in the game, but we're very minor spoilers for the following.
This is Benson, Tram Engineering. We think we figured it out. Smith killed one. Listen, forget about shooting him in the body. You gotta cut off the limbs. Grab a cutter, anything like that. Cut them apart!
In an apocalypse scenario, everyone knows the polite thing to do before you pop your clogs is to scrawl a terrifying message on a wall for any survivors who happen to come along. No way out, destroy the brain, that sort of thing. Bonus points if you write it in your own blood. Well, it's a regular points-a-palooza for a certain crew member aboard the USG Ishimura in Dead Space, the one who scrawled this A-plus piece of morbid hint work right at the start of the game. This top-tier bit of blood writing accompanies the very first weapon hero Isaac acquires in Dead Space, a weapon designed to do exactly what the author of that blood note suggested. Behold the 211V Plasma Cutter, manufactured by Schofield Tools. Like most of the weapons you find in Dead Space, the Plasma Cutter is actually a tool for mining space rocks, so we can only imagine the nightmare for Schofield Tools' PR team when Isaac finds it's actually much better suited to blowing off limbs and goes on a rampage of doing exactly that. Should have called it the 211V Limb Loosener. The business end of the plasma cutter can be rotated, letting you slice off alien limbs with surgical precision, and can be upgraded throughout the game, upping its strength in line with the increasingly savage monsters receiving its plasma punishment. While you'll find plenty of flashier bits of kit for blasting scuttling necromorphs into chunks of low-gravity matter, none is as dependable as the humble plasma cutter. If humble is the right word to describe a gun capable of doing this to a limb. Oh, that's Schofield Tools PR on the phone. Probably time to wrap this up.
Pop quiz, the zombie apocalypse has happened. You've got to leave town ASAP. What 3 things do you take with you? Answer: food, water, baseball bat, bag of nails. Oh wait, that's 4 things. Oh well, we can do without water. Because anyone who's consumed any pop culture of the last several decades, or at least seen a billboard for The Walking Dead, will know a spiky baseball bat is the one armament guaranteed to strike fear into the undead masses. So it's not surprising that Dead Rising 2 treats this weapon with the reverence it deserves. The game, which sees hero Chuck trapped inside a casino resort overrun by zombies, is absolutely jam-packed with objects that you can grab on the fly to violently dispatch the hordes of brain munchers out to get you. Trouble is, these improvised weapons break, and not all of them are as, effective as others. So, the game wants you to combine your improvised weaponry to create new and exotic murder tools, but there's every chance you won't be doing that, seeing as the very first crafting recipe you're encouraged to try is basically perfect already.
Cool.
Where to begin with the advantages of the spiked bat? We could describe how Chuck swings it in such a wide arc that it's almost unrivaled at clearing a path through densely packed undead. or how impressively durable it is compared to other weaponry in the game, so it doesn't leave you in the lurch by breaking unexpectedly, or how easy it is to come by, with the very first maintenance room you stumble across always home to a fresh bat and nails, which is super convenient, unless you're a zombie. It may be the first combo weapon you come across, and it may not be the most hilarious way to re-dead the undead, but the humble spiked bat is arguably the most reliable way of wasting Zeds you'll find anywhere. Plus, there are enough baseball idioms in the English language to fill a stadium, making this weapon the superior choice for pithy one-liners. Hey buddy, something we need to discuss right off the bat! You think that's a curveball? Well, here's my pitch! And to think you wanted to bring water and medicine.
Sword on the ground! Right now!
Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII is an inspiring figure. He gives hope to his friends, the beleaguered freedom fighters of Avalanche, and also gives hope to anyone with skinny arms that we too may one day be able to not only lift, but stylishly swing half a ton of steel as if it weighed nothing. That hunk of metal which Cloud and his precious little porcelain arms are hefting about will be immediately identifiable to Final Fantasy fans as the Buster Sword. Arguably the most recognisable weapon in all of video games, the Buster Sword is so famous they opted to put it on the box like it's the main character instead of Cloud, who has to face backwards. But then how's he ever going to get top billing when he's always pouting? Come on Cloud, it's not the end of the world. At least not until they bring out part 2. In the original Final Fantasy, the Buster Sword is Cloud's starting weapon, and it very much behaves the way starting weapons normally do, in that after a few hours you'll find something stronger and swap to using that instead. The remake handles things a bit differently, however, likely because in the 23 years between the two versions, the Buster Sword has only become more iconic, thanks to appearances in enough spin-off prequels, movies, and free-to-play smartphone racing games to sink the Highwind airship. Forcing players to ditch this famous blade in the long-awaited remake could have resulted in fans storming the Square Enix headquarters in a bloodthirsty rage. And seeing as Square was already facing around 1,000 decisions that all had the potential to end in a bloodthirsty storming, the developers decided to take the easy way out and make the Buster Sword upgradable throughout the game. Now, the experience you get from fighting can be translated into points that you spend on upgrading a weapon's attributes, by unlocking, I think, orbital moons? In the solar system within the sword? Let's not look into this too hard in case it turns out there's a canonical explanation we have to learn. The upshot is that your weapons get stronger as you do, and while there are other swords you can find in the game, the differences between them end up being marginal. And while some swords favour, for instance, attack or magical power, only one of them makes your Cloud look like the Cloud on the box. So we expect most players chose, like us, to stick with the starting weapon, the sweet, sweet Buster Sword.
No escape. Sorry.
Especially if you've already got all its materia power-ups just the way you like them. Square Enix, if you expect me to reorganise these again, then I can tell you what to expect for your headquarters. Stormed. By me. With a bloodthirst.
Stressing out in a character creator is nothing new. So many tough choices. Will I be a mage or a rogue? Focus on intelligence or strength? Which of these many kinds of elves is the Legolas kind, and how do I avoid that one? And so on. Venerable Skyrim ancestor The Elder Scrolls II Daggerfall had an interesting workaround for this sort of indecision, letting you make your hero by answering a series of cryptic questions. Behind the scenes, your answers to these curious inquiries would determine your skills and reputation levels, and sometimes let you start the game with one incredibly strong weapon. Luck into a question for which one of the answers is Ebony Dagger, and choose it, and you'll start the game with, you guessed it, an Ebony Dagger, which, now we come to think of it, maybe means this questionnaire wasn't so cryptic after all. The ebony dagger deals terrific damage, as you'd expect of a blade forged of the black glassy substance said to be the crystallized blood of the gods themselves. Its stats outshine even daggers made of mithril and adamantium. To put that in perspective, this means it would easily slice through a Frodo or a Wolverine, or both if they stood back to back. Play Daggerfall for long enough and you might eventually find even stronger weaponry to replace the ebony dagger, but not before you've spent many, many hours slicing up foes with this reliable blade, all the while marvelling that somehow you started the game with this beauty already in your inventory. Have some of this, assassin sent by Legolas! Now I'm King of the Elves! The character I'm role-playing here is quite complex. I don't think we have time to get into it.
Hear someone mention the Assassin's Creed series, and the first thing to enter your head will be the Hidden Blade, a bit like how it's entered the head of many Templars. This low-profile murder gauntlet is one of the first pieces of equipment given to you in the game, and allows you to sneak up nice and close to your intended target and... Yep, that. Altair makes good use of his hidden blade, assassinating Templar guards right next to each other without arousing suspicion, allowing him to infiltrate areas leaving nothing but a pile of bodies. This is unlike his sword, which if he tries to use on an unaware guard, always results in a fight, as apparently swinging a huge sword at someone from behind doesn't immediately kill them and freaks out everyone nearby.
Pay for your sins!
Oh, calm down everyone, I didn't even kill him! Okay, now I did. You unlock new gear like fancy throwing knives, which are useful one-hit, one-kill items, but you can only carry so many, and you need to keep your supplies constantly restocked. And your swords can be upgraded, but even fully leveled, none of these upgrades match the usefulness of your hidden blade, given to you right at the start, fully functional.
You need something?
With it, you can not only insta-kill unaware enemies, but also quickly take down those who were painfully aware of your presence, having watched you cut down all their pals. Also, as fancy as your counterattacks may be in a sword fight, you can't take advantage of the higher ground. With the hidden blade, however, you can approach your target from any angle, even above them. Haha, didn't see that one coming, did you? No wonder the hidden blade is the go-to iconic weapon for the Assassin Brotherhood. Also, makes a good hole punch. Why pay more?
Form up!
Military strategist Ron Perlman once said, "War never changes."
War never changes.
Just consider the sword bayonet, which entered widespread use on Earth in the 19th century owing to its deadly close-quarters capabilities, and remains fundamentally unchanged on the distant planet Sera. In Gears of War, the humans of the Coalition of Ordered Governments battled the Locust mutant horde with something very similar, albeit with the sword part replaced with something a touch noisier. That flesh-ripping sound is the engine note of the Lancer Mark II assault rifle, which is the standard issue weapon of the COG army. And with good reason. It's effective at all ranges and boasts a generous magazine, though sensible troopers looking to conserve ammo can always lean on its melee capabilities. Yes, everything about this just screams sensible. Being standard issue gear, the Lancer is the first weapon Marcus gets his paws on in the game, not counting the hammer burst in your possession for 2 minutes in the brief prologue when Marcus Phoenix is released from prison, but we don't count that because at that point you haven't been yelled at by a grumpy CO, and it's really not Gears of War until that's happened.
I expect you to give me 110%, Phoenix!
This being the very first gun in the game you spend any meaningful time with, you might expect the Lancer to get ditched after a mission or two, but you will still be relying on this lead-spitting linchpin all the way through the game. It may not summon a sky laser like the grandly named Hammer of Dawn, but as military strategist Ron Perlman would say, who needs sky lasers when your gun is a chainsaw? At least we think he'd say that. His agent actually asked us to stop emailing.
Door's open.
Another day on the job.
For most archaeologists heading into tombs, you'd imagine that the main pieces of equipment they'd want to take with them are a torch and one of those little brushes they use to dust skeletons. The two things on top of Lara Croft's kit list in Tomb Raider, however, are a gun and another gun. Lara's dual-wielded pistols are as famous as her green vest and short shorts, and for good reason. See, while Lara can and does find other weapons on her journey that admittedly pack a punch, there are none which are quite so classic or as frequently useful as the two handguns she starts the game with. One reason is that, because she can dual wield, she is always able to shoot at least one gun in the direction of an enemy no matter what side of her they're standing. Lara is big into acrobatics in the first two series, and needs to be to avoid becoming dog food. And it's much easier to hit something with a gun in each hand, even when she's in the middle of a floor routine that would earn her a bronze gymnastics medal at the Olympics. And she can keep shooting throughout all her backflips and somersaults thanks to the pistol's unlimited access to ammo. There are other dual-wielded weapons she can get her artifact-stealing mitts on, but the usefulness of all other weaponry completely depends on finding ammo. I mean, what's the use of a rocket launcher if your ammo is severely limited, besides finding out what the inside of a tiger looks like? Oh, orange and black stripes still. Cool. Lara's pistols have infinite ammo, meaning that she's never stuck in a situation where she has no bullet in the chamber and a bear bearing down on her. Also useful when you've got a T-Rex T-Rexing down on you. Plus, with the introduction of adrenaline dodge in the rebooted Tomb Raider Anniversary, these babies could enrage enemies with their infinite ammo before easily headshotting them. Well, that gives you pause for thought. Pause. Hey Bear, why aren't you laughing? You died.
So those were some of the starter weapons that were like the coolest, best weapon in the game. What the heck? Step your game up. Late game weapons is what I have to say to that. Can you think of any other examples of starter weapons that were just so freaking good that they kind of outshone everything else? If so, let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, then I think there's every chance that you will enjoy the community shows we do every week here on Outside Extra and over on Outside Xbox. They are Show of the Weekend and Show of the Week, respectively. And yeah, we talk about games. It's unscripted. It's a good time, and yeah, it's enjoyable. And if you like this list, you might like that. All right, I'm rambling now, so I will just say like and subscribe. Thanks very much for watching, and hope you enjoyed this. And we will see you next time. Goodbye.